Hello class, this is lecture 10.3 and this is going to be how Darwin presents his case of evolution. After today's lecture you should be able to list events leading to Darwin's publication of his hypothesis and his theory. You should be able to describe how natural variation is used in artificial selection. You also should be able to explain how natural selection is related to the species fitness, and then you should be able to identify evidence Darwin used to present his case of evolution and state Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection. The origin of species. This was Darwin's idea that challenged fundamental scientific and religious beliefs of his day. In 1858, Alfred Wallace wrote an essay with the same thoughts as Darwin. In 1859, The Origins of Species was published, and it proposes a mechanism for evolution by natural selection. So what natural selection is, and all that stuff, is members of each species vary or are different from one another in important ways. So like the turtles on the Galapagos Islands, each ones are from the same species, but each turtle is different in its own way to help it survive. Same with these flowers. All the same species, but each are different so that way they can be pollinated. Darwin realized that these differences were passed on from parent to offspring. So parent to offspring, we just learned about how DNA is copied and all that stuff. So it's passed on from one parent to their offspring, like you would pass on your traits to your kids. Characteristics are not passed on due to natural selection. Okay. Nature provides a variation, and humans select variations that are useful. So here's one right here. So natural variation occurs in wild population. The seed for the next generations are chosen only from individuals with most desirable traits. Repeat the process for several generations. Over time, the quality of crop increases. So that's what we do. Okay, natural selection is going to be the struggle for existence. Members of each species compete to obtain food, living space, and other necessities. So it's the survival of the fittest. Only the strong will survive. Survival of the fittest. Fitness is the ability to survive and reproduce in a specific environment. I'm going to have a little joke over here. It says, we all cross the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. And you can see how the chickens are hurt. Adaptations are inherited characteristics that increase the chance of survival. So what Darwin went with the Galapagos Islands and the finches and the turtles is that they adapted to their environment, and that trait got passed on from one turtle to the next so then they could survive. Natural selection results in the changes in inherited traits of a population. So it increases a species' fitness in its environment. Natural selection can only be observed as changes in a population over successive generations. And in your book it looks at cheetahs and how their skulls are shaped and how that helped them survive over time. And I have a Bill Nye the Science Guy video here for you. And this one's an actual video, don't be scared. If it works. Here it goes.
If you have 4 legs and you like to gallop around, maybe you're a zebra, or a springbok, or a giraffe. Now if you're a giraffe, why do you have such a long neck? Well, please consider the following. Now when you watch giraffes eat, you'll see that they eat leaves up high in trees. That's what giraffes do all day. They eat leaf tree salad. that other animals can't reach. Now, you might think that if you were another animal and you wanted to reach those high leaves, you just stretch your neck, stretch your neck, stretch. You sort of stretch. And then eventually, you'd be able to eat leaves up higher in trees. Well, it doesn't work that way. In order to have a slightly longer neck, you have to be born with one. Just slightly longer. Just slightly longer. So having a slightly longer neck, just slightly longer, allows you to reach leaves that are slightly higher. Slightly higher. And that gives you a slightly better chance of having enough to eat, which gives you a slightly better chance of having giraffe kids. Or kids. See it because it begins with a G. Anyway, the kids with slightly longer necks, just slightly longer, have a better chance of having kids with even longer necks. And eventually, after millions of years and many, many generations, giraffes ended up with pretty long necks. This is the process of evolution by selection. Small changes with each generation. So big changes take thousands of generations, millions of years. And that's how giraffes get to have such long necks. Maybe these guys are onto something. Looks good. Thank you for joining me. Looking further forward.
So each living species has descended with changes from another species over time, like the giraffe. The giraffe obviously has been changed, and that trait keeps getting passed on so then that species can survive. So this implies that all living things are related to one another, so they all have a common descent. We have evidence of this. We have a fossil record, and how we know that is we've compared fossils from older rock layers with fossils from younger rock layers, and scientists could document how life on Earth has changed over time. So these fossils of the starfish haven't changed very much compared to what they are now. Same as the crawfish here, mosquitoes, flies, all of that stuff. The law of superposition is that any undisturbed sequence of rocks deposited in layers, the youngest layer is on top and the oldest layer is on bottom, which makes sense. It goes youngest to oldest. And you can see where the plate tectonics start to push, and that's why you have different layers and different mountain formations form. So the index for fossils. Fossils of organisms that are widely distributed and lived for a short period of time. So they'll be located at different areas after the sedimentary succession when it starts to fold. Another thing for evidence for the evolution is the geographic distribution of these fossils. There's a geographical separation or continental drift followed by the modification of natural selection. So they found similar fossils in areas for each of these. Homo-analogous body structure. So what that means is they're going to have similar body structures with the bones and the carpal tunnels. So structures that have different mature forms but develop from the same embryonic tissue. So like a penguin has the same bone structures as we do, except for our metacarpals, or our fingers, have developed more. Same with alligators and bats. Vestigial organs are organs with little or no function. And it's a specific vesical organ suggests that an organism's ancestor once used that organ. And it's believed that some of these organs are why we have saltwater sharks that can survive in fresh water. Some more evidence is similarities in the embryology. So embryos of many animals with backbones are very similar, and you can see how we all start out the same, which is kind of weird, and we all form into something different, which is kind of weird. Molecular similarities, the DNA. During the last 40 years, scientists have invented ways of measuring similarities of molecules of different species. So these technological advances are helping us with looking at the similarities between things in the past and today. And obviously the direct observation of evolution is continuing, and there's another Bill Nye the Science Guy video. If you want to watch it, you can. It's about 13 minutes long. You don't have to watch it, but if you're having problems understanding that evolution is a survival of the fittest, so only the strong will survive, and those genes are passed on to one another, that's what evolution is. Think of us. We supposedly could have came from cavemen, or some people think we came from fish. So, but the strong survive, and we all have evolved. How I think of evolution is just with technology, and that technology keeps changing and getting better and better and better, and that's how evolution was. So, if you have any questions, please let me know if I can clear anything up for you. Have a great day.